Thank you for being here tonight to spend the next 2 hours together to meditate. This is a session dedicated to meditation. So there are 4 parts in total, as usual. The first part, let's just examine what is meditation from different perspectives. And after that, let's do meditating together, maybe for 10 minutes or for 15 minutes, just to quieten the mind a little bit. Then after that, let's have a long talk about self, how to be yourself, and how to be your true self. I think education is marvelous, but education also gives us the ability to pretend, to disguise. This is probably not the byproducts of the education, but probably is the problem of the education in one or another. So this kind of environment may give us some challenges when we can't find our true selves. Of course, there are many other reasons that lead to our current issues, that everybody has all kinds of mental challenges to handle, emotions. And today, let's examine it a little bit. And after the third session, people become very activated. Nobody speaks a lot, but everybody think a lot. So we need to meditate again to quieten the mind and live here with peace and calm. So that's the whole setup of this meditation session. If you feel a little crowded here, you can move to that place. It's okay for you? Okay, perfect. So before we start today's session, let's just do a small meditation session, 3 minutes. So in this 3 minutes, let's reflect, to think about the moments of the day that we are judgmental. It can be the judgments because of a habit. It also can be the overreaction to other people's judgment. Let's give some time, space to reflect on that. It's nothing about right or wrong, or it's not about whether you should judge or not judge. Just think about that and reflect it about 3 minutes. And then when we finish it, I will ring the bell to let people come back to this space. Shall we? Yeah. To meditate means that we sit down or do whatever we want to quieten the mind. But it's never easy for people to quieten the mind. We think we are quiet, we are calm, but that's only a thinking. The stillness of mind is beyond our awareness, the consciousness, because it's on the neuron levels. We think we are calm. It's different from we are calm. We think we are human. It's different from we are human. We think we are kind. It's different from we are kind. You see, the thinking, the thought has permeated into our life in many different ways. Too many, too subtle. And most time we can't really catch it because thought has been part of your life, right? From the culture we are in, no matter where you were born, the culture you were born into. What's culture? Isn't a bunch of collective imaginations or a bunch of collective illusions, or simply speaking, a bunch of thoughts. So to meditate means that we need to realize that deeply, to feel that we are way into the thoughts too much. We still think that we are human, but are we still human? We have too many activities in the consciousness from all walk of life. But have we realized the boundary of those thoughts, the boundary of those consciousness? We have the physical body, that's a fact. And in terms of physical body, there's a self, that's also a fact. But we also have a self psychologically. That's a different entity, but we mix it. So this kind of subtle issues leads to a lot of big issues. We just perfectly blend the thoughts into our life. Think about the egos we have had. And we use our body as a pretext to justify the ego. To meditate, it means that we need to understand the rules of the thoughts, imaginations, or illusions that has played in our life. So in this session, we don't deny thought because we are always thinking, right? There are a lot of knowledge based on thoughts. But if we are into the thoughts without the awareness, that's the issue. What is a world like? Are we living in the same world, or we are living in different world? I think most people, I guess, to my observation, most people presume that other people are living in the same world with him or her. But with that assumption, it also leads to a lot of conflicts and issues. To meditate, we need to examine the world. Which world? Your world. You examine your world. I examine my world. What's the world like? Isn't it the projection of your inner world? Your reality? So we again blend the thoughts into our life by mixing the outside world with the inside world. Of course, physically we are living in the same world, but mentally, are we? If we are living in the same mental world, why do we have suffer a lot? Why do we go through a lot of conflicts, contradictions? Why we can't find the true harmony in life? So, to explore the inner world is to meditate. You can't help me, I can't help you, because you understand your own world. I can't understand yours. I can only understand my world. So, at the first step to meditate, we need to realize the boundary of the mental world.
How do you do that? Because everything is filtered by your own perception.
How to do that? Do what?
If you find that boundary you were talking about.
What's the purpose of that?
You said that we need to find the boundary between our mental world and
Yes.
the physical one.
How to find it? When we say this verse, it seems that we are going to do something to find it. So it's another topic, actually. It's the confusion from language. How to find it? To find is to realize it, right? To find is to be deeply aware of it. To find is to feel it. It's different. It's kind of different finding. Because in our life, we always seek result, seek. But here, to find is not to seek. Think about in your life. How many moments are we seeking something? Seeking a result, seeking an achievement? A lot. And we understand that as find. But here, to find is to feel, to be deeply aware of something. You don't have to say it's good or not. We don't judge it. But just be aware of it. What is it? The mind, the inner world, the boundary of it. When we when we blur the boundary, we become confused, do we? Why are we confused about our life? Because we blurred the boundary between the physical world and the mental world. And we created chaos in the mental world and project it into our life, into the physical ones. So why have we done that already? Why have we done all these kind of chaos in our past life? Isn't it the consequence of the fact that we are not aware of it at all? Because when we are really aware of this situation, the mental world, the boundary, the mental activities, we would have done something differently, right? Because we have lost this kind of awareness. That's why we do something, we make some chaos, which we don't realize at all.
When you mean we lost them, it's because once in the past we had.
Think about when we were a kid, when we were young. Before we got the education, think about a young child. The younger, the better. I mean, it's a kind of a. When we were very young, our mind is very fresh, innocent. But now, look at our soul. Look at the way we live. Very sophisticated, very complicated. So when we grew up, because the influences from the society, from the culture, from the education, we lost that awareness. Why education? We are taught to think all the time, right? Is there a course at school to teach you how to be aware of your life? No, right? We never take course to teach us how to live a life. But we only take a course to how to find a job, how to make money, how to be successful, how to be competitive. But for everyone, the big question is how to live a life. How to live peacefully in your mental world with harmony, with joy, So to meditate is to examine it, not by reading text or listening to me. It's all belong to the outer world. We need to turn inward, means we need to feel it, to observe the mind. If you read a book, the book is your authority. If you now listen to me, I am your authority. Authority only blocks you from learning, from understand yourself. To turn inward, to look inward, which means that we need to be free from authority. Even the language is also the authority, is it? Here, the authority means the psychological ones. I don't mean the law, whatever, but means the psychological ones. Language itself is also an authority, is it? Because most time we just read the text and try to understand text without feeling ourselves. So here comes the question. Can we look at the mind without authority? Can we feel the mind inwardly? Can we understand the role of the self playing in the life? Can we just observe those activities non-judgmentally at present? Can we do that without resulting to the past knowledge or experience to interpret it? Because our mind is very great to turn to the experience and knowledge and try to interpret it. Can we not do that? Just observe it at this moment, at each moment. That's meditation. Be present. Look at your mind. Don't judge it. Don't condemn it. Just look at it. Because being judgmental is a very subtle mental actions, is it? It's super easy to judge. Very easy. And because we are so skillful in using languages, we easily just pick up a few words to confirm our judgment. Oh, that's too bad. No, it's not my cake. So, can we notice it? This kind of tiny mental actions. Because from outside, it seems that you do nothing. But from inside, your judgment just triggers a new neural path. When you keep judging, you will accumulate many different neuron paths. And if those neuron paths couldn't live together harmoniously, what's the consequence? the conflicts of the neuron paths, right? And what's the consequence of that? Oh, how do you feel these conflicts? It can be your emotions, behaviors. You see, thinking is a very tricky stuff. The way to think determines how to create the neuron paths in your mind. At first, nobody notices it. Only yourself can. But if you can't do something about that, your behavior will change because of that. And everyone else can feel it. So to not let people see that, what we do, we pretend, right? We don't to change our mind. We just pretend, okay, I'm okay. Bullshit. Okay, anyway, so you see, we always maintain this two-faced life. But if we look within, to notice that all kinds of small mental actions we have made unconsciously in the past, we begin to notice the issue. So to meditate is to be aware of those mental actions we have made in the past. To notice each thought arising from these mental activities. It sounds complicated? Oh, there's so many things to be aware of that. Is it? Oh, how can I do that? I need to be aware of so many things. When I think of that, it's not a new thinking. Everything is a habit, is it? Our old way of life is also habit. The habit of overthinking, the habit of being negative, the habit of being judgmental. But if we bring this awareness into life and make this awareness as our habit, new habit, what's it be like? So to meditate means that we need to deeply feel the past old habits that has given us the chaos. And to meditate means that we can consciously create new mental habits to overwrite the old ones, which is beyond our consciousness. But it can happen. It can arise from our consciousness. That's why we say proper thinking can lead to proper mental habits. So how to think properly is the question for the meditation. How to have a proper intention of life will trigger proper neuron paths to run. Is it? Intention matters. You feel it. Do you? So, meditation is like this. to self-reflect, to turn inward, to understand how the mind works. When you understand yourself, you understand everybody. Isn't it marvelous? Because we share the same discipline of the mind. It seems that we found different cultures, we speak different languages. It seems that we are very different. Indeed, the behaviors, the way to speak, the way to interact, the real life is very different. It's a fact. But we are the same because the mind is the same. It runs in the same way. Also to speak, the neurons works in the same way. The difference between us, isn't it the consequence of the environment, the language, the culture, those things? So look at our academic study. We're always into cultural stuff, but we rarely look at the mind, which is shared across all the people. Actually, it's a shortcut, isn't it? If we just go through all the cultural stuff, probably we couldn't, because so many things to look into. But if we just examine our own mind, and then we understand everybody's mind, isn't it a shortcut? So in that way, when we really understand how the mind works, I think we don't need to read the books, the 99% of the books of this world. Look at the bookshelf. On most of the books about the mind, all the books are the consequence of the mind.
Books and authorities and passing knowledge is how we have been learning forever as human beings. No?
Mm-hmm.
So learning from one generation to another, passing information, reading, studying. So it's difficult to break that habit as well, of just not reading anything at all, or not.
It's not about reading anything at all. It means that we don't need to read a lot of books. You can read if you want, but think about our purpose of reading books.
We need to meditate, and everything will pop up.
Everything will pop up. And you only read the books you need. Because now we read the books a lot. For what purpose? Sometimes we just want to understand ourselves. But as we have said before, to understand the mind, your mind is the best way to understand yourself. If you understand your mind, a lot of books you don't need to read at all. Right? And you can easily recognize which books are worth reading, which are not. So that's the way to meditate, to understand the inner world, to understand why we have these emotions, to understand our reactions to other things, when you realize the very reaction, you will know what you will do next. To understand the mind means to understand the reactions we are stuck in. So that's the meditation in general. But I think most people only associate meditation with sit down to meditate. That part is also very important, of course. But we can't keep sitting here all the time, do we? Because we still have a life to live. So, to examine the mind, to understand how the mind works, that's the purpose, if there's one, to meditate. When we understand the mind, the wisdom just pop up naturally. You have your wisdom, I have mine. The wisdom comes from your understanding of the mind and your situation. Is it? That's why we can't really exchange wisdom. But everybody can find their own wisdom if everybody can understand the mind. But to understand the mind, to observe the mind, we need to have a very quiet mind. If a mind is very chaotic, very disturbed, like a lot of thoughts pop up, like a rough sea, when you throw stone into rough sea, you can't see anything, right? Because the sea is too rough. So we need to calm down. That's always the first priority. To calm down the mind first. To make your mind like a peaceful lake. Then any small stone, which causes the very tiny disturbance, will be noticed, right? So that's why we still need to sit down to meditate or lie down or whatever you do to quieten the mind. That's why for the next session, the next part, let's meditate for 10 minutes. So before we do that, let's quickly revise the technique a little bit, 3 minutes. So there are many different techniques of meditation, but here, let's just do the simple breath meditation to focus on the breath. Why is breath? 2 reasons. One is that breath is rarely noticed in your life. So you rarely associate your breath with anything. So now when we focus on breath, it won't trigger you something for most people. Second is that breath is not a thought. It's a sensation, is it? Focus on the breath means that focus on the sensation that arises from the breath. It can be like here, the coolness and the warmth, or belly, swell, or just fall back. Just notice this sensation. Or you can find any sensation, maybe the neck, if you find it's very relevant to your breath. Just notice it. That's your central focus. At the same time, you must reserve your awareness to notice the circle of breath. So it means that when you breathe in, notice that you are breathing in. Just notice it. And when you breathe out, notice that you are breathing out. So it means that you focus on the breath, the sensation. At the same time, you realize, okay, I'm breathing in, I'm breathing out. That's the whole process of meditation. But here comes the very tricky part, your thoughts. Because for most people, during meditation, thoughts just pop up. It's very common, but you need to ignore it. So when you realize thoughts pop up, okay, just acknowledge that, oh yeah, thought is popping up. But don't identify with it. Just focus on breath. So you need to do that consciously. Thoughts pop up, okay, I don't care, I just focus on breath. Time and time again. If you just unfortunately captivated by thoughts, it's okay. Don't judge yourself. Don't criticize yourself. Just come by breath. That's okay. Because at the beginning, it might be a little difficult to be fully aware of the thoughts. But just a few times practice, you begin to be very good at ignoring the thoughts. Ignore means that you don't care about thoughts. You don't refuse it. Just ignore it. Focus on breath. Okay? Let thoughts come. Let thoughts be. And let thoughts go. So, sensation is the central focus. And the full circle is your awareness. Also aware the thoughts. Don't identify with it. Just focus on breath. Probably at the beginning, you need some willpower to focus on the breath. That's the rule of the meditation. Be flexible. There's no right or wrong rules, okay? So now I will play the audio guide here. Let's follow the audio guide. Let's meditate for 10 minutes. Then we come back to the third session. So the gesture can be very flexible. It can be in that way, cross-legged. Also can be in this way. They are all perfect. So no right or wrong ways. Just be flexible, okay?
Will you switch off the light?
Yes. Shall I turn off the lights? We can enjoy the darkness for a while. Perfect. Okay, let's do it. Oh. Now, let's take a 10-minute meditation. Start by taking a moment to find a comfortable position to sit in a posture that you feel relaxed and get alert. Let the hands rest on your knees or laps. Let the eyes close gently. Soften your forehead. Act a soft smile in the corner of your lips. Breathe naturally. As you breathe in, be aware as you breathe in. Feel the sensation of breathe in. As you breathe out, be aware of breathing out. Feel the sensation of breathing out. Fix your attention on the breath. Let go of any thought. This moment, nothing is more important than breath. Every time you hear the bell, notice where your attention is. If it wasn't on the breath, gently invite attention back to the breath and try your best to sustain your attention on the breath. Slowly bring your awareness back to the room. Feel into your body. Wiggle your fingers and toes. When you are ready, open your eyes. How does everybody feel now? A 10 minutes of non-thinking, or a 10 minutes of try not to think, right? You see,
In my case, there was a lot of thinking.
no thinking. But at least we try not to think, right? That attempt matters, right? Just notice it. The true peace only arrives when there's no thoughts involved. If we keep thinking, we couldn't be calm at all. At least we can, though we can claim that we are calm. But when we say that we are calm, the very action to speak involves thoughts. So peace and calm is not a concept in our thoughts. If we always toy with it on the consciousness, it's different from we just peace and calm when we are not involved in thoughts at this moment. So give yourself a break means that give yourself a moment to not think. To quiet down. But it's never easy for us because thinking, overthinking, has become such a strong habit, right? When you meditate, the thoughts just keep popping back. You see the difficulty to give you a break, truly. You see the limitation of purely sitting down to meditate. That's why we need to examine the mind to understand the nature, the structure of the thoughts. To understand means to be aware of that. Then we can give ourselves a true break, a peace, without being disturbed by thoughts. So today, in this session, let's talk about how to be yourself, how to be your true self. Everybody wants to be themselves. Do they? They can feel free, at least in that sense, to do what they want. But I would say most people find it not easy to be themselves. There are all kinds of pressure to push back. So why we can't be ourselves? Because you are caring about yourself. Is it? You are caring too much. Are you? But the more you care about yourself, you may find that the more difficult to be yourself. When you care about other people's opinions, because you are self-conscious, because you think that other people's comments might hurt your image of the self. And then in that sense, how can you be yourself? You see, the confusion in the language is here. To be yourself, this self is your physical self, is it? But you are caring about yourself. It's a different self, is it? The self, the concept of it, the psychological one, or the ego stuff. So, to be yourself, you need to kill yourself. I mean the psychological one, not the physical one, right? To be yourself, you need to end the concept of the self in your mind. It sounds contradictory, is it? Because if you are obsessed with yourself, you couldn't be yourself. But this kind of contradiction comes from the language itself. But actually, it's not contradicted at all, right? You have the physical self, which is you want to be, actually, but you also get stuck in the psychological one, the self here. So to understand the mind is the way to debunk the psychological self. The problems, the root of all the issues you have had, is it? All your mental conflicts come from the self, the psychological self. Do they? Think about your daily life, all kinds of miseries, all kinds of conflicts. Aren't they related to the self? I mean the psychological one. If I don't mention the physical one, it's always the psychological one, okay? Just to be clear. Just think about for a while, everybody. We are confused We are contradicted. We are conflicted. Isn't it all because of the self, the ego stuff running in the head? Think about the way of life. Everybody is putting up an image. And you see other people also as image. Is it? You judge people based on other people's image. At the same time, you want to defend your image to let people judge you properly. So we see it's not we two together to communicate, but it's not. It's only two images communicate. Is it? Oh yeah, if I do this, people will judge me as arrogant. I don't do that. It's not human communication. It's image communication. Is it? We are an image, or we are a human? Tell me. Or do you want to be an image, or do you want to be a human? You see, the option is in our hands. So between you and me, we just put up two walls. One wall is my image. The other wall is your image. It's like a play computer game. You in front of your screen, I in front of my screen, and the two screens communicate. And what do we do then? We try to decorate this image. We try to beautify it. And we are all master the skill of pretentiousness. Because that image, right? In that situation, actually in the situation now in our life, how can we be ourselves? Because you only exist as image in other people's eyes, and other people also exist as images in your eyes. Right? So what does to be your true self mean here? To be your true self. Right? Yes or no? At least we need to notice it first. Right? To notice the image. To notice that the image is just cover of our true self. We only want to show other people our image, not ourselves. At the same time, we still want to be ourselves. Do you see the contradiction here? Do you see the dilemma here we are in? So you need to care, you need to think about, just look at you. Do you care about your image, or do you care about your true self?
Well, sometimes it's handy to have an image of yourself because it's easier to work, for example, or interact with some people that are not deeply very good friends of yours, and then you just go along. Everybody knows what role everybody's playing, and you go along.
So you say you answer your own question. That's why I didn't say we need to get rid of it. I only say we need to be aware of that.
Yeah. And decide when.
When
Yeah.
you need to have the wisdom to handle your image. in society, in any society. But if you are not aware of the image, that's a different issue, is it? To meditate is to be deeply aware of something, right? To be deeply aware of the self-image we are holding on to. To be deeply aware of the way we communicate, the image and communication. That awareness will give you the solution, how to be yourself, and how to be true self. You still beautify or just have that image. That it's okay, nothing wrong, right? But just pay attention to that. It's different from that you care about the image. You can still have image, okay, but if you care about that, it's a different thing, is it? You can have money, but if you care about money, it's a different thing, is it? That sort of care is a problem. So here, I don't tell you, please stop doing that stuff. No, you can still do it because most people do it. If you can't beat them, join them, right? But the problem is that if you care about that, you care about your image, that's a different issue, is it? Can you do it without caring about it? Can you? Because in most of life, we always do the things that we care about. We strive for it, right? But I think everybody can feel the pain of doing that. The problem is not because everybody has image, but the problem is because we care about image too much. We are so obsessed with the image. And to be attached to the image, how can you be yourself? Look at Facebook, look at Instagram, look at Snapchat, look at all kinds of internet tools. It's how easy for us to be into the image game. Here, I don't tell you, don't use Facebook, because I still publish events on Facebook. But the problem is that our intention, we care about something too much. Because we think image is important, right? That's the name we care about that. But when you suffer from it, when you can't be yourself, does that really matter or not? Oh, is there really something that matter to you? We need to reflect. You can have a lot of things. You can, of course you can. But if you think they are matter, if you think they matter to you, it's a different thing, is it? And then this part is also give us confusion in life. you can have a lot of things, of course, that's perfect. But if you care about them, I'm sorry, that can be horrible, is it? If you care about something, something will become your shortcoming. If you care about something, people can threaten you by that. If you care about something, you will suffer from it in one way or another, do you? So here, we are talking about care and no care. It's not about do or not to do. Do you see the differences? It's not about do or not do, but it's more about care and no care. But most people just associate do with care, no do with no care.
This new way of seeing things might create also some sort of weirdness in yourself, because you are doing something and you feel you are playing a role, but you don't care so much because it's not yourself. And this awareness makes you feel weird in the reality sometimes as well. Like you are in a theater or something.
But if life is a theater, is it? Is it? When we have the image here, isn't it a theater at all? We are all actors.
But it's very weird to realize that in your daily life, that you are playing a role in a theater.
But
I am getting crazy here, or shall I go on? It's a difficult feeling to accept, I think.
To be aware of this kind of stuff, it can be disturbing. When we see the truth, it can be disturbing, is it? But this disturbance is different from other kind of disturbance, is it? When you have something annoyed, something conflicts, which you can also disturb you. But this disturbance is let us to re-examine each level of the thinking. At first, people think we are weird, of course. Because we are challenging their assumptions, challenging their pre-assumptions, the pre-judgments, whatever. Of course, these things we are weird. But I myself, I don't care about them. Do you care about them? No. That's it. You see, when you don't care, you are really yourself. Are you? When you don't care, you just yourself. You can be yourself. Life is a theater, at least in this society. Not only in Dutch, in every country. It's the same. But if you lose the awareness of your true self, that's a different story, is it? You just fully into the actor, fully into the role. That's the issue. You forget your true self, but the nature of mind won't forget you, because you are still subjected to that rule, to that discipline of the mind. Then when we are really into the game, we lose the game. Is it? The game of the society, the game of the life, the game of the image communication. So we don't deny anything here, but you need to be aware of that. That gives you the freedom. when you don't care about, and when you still do it, isn't it as a way to liberate yourself from all kinds of caring stuff? When you don't care about anybody, anything, I mean, you're really in love with everybody. Is it? When you don't care, you are really in love with everybody. The compassion. When you care, you always like something, dislike something. Is it? In that kind of care, we are not compassion at all. We can still say we love somebody, but we also hate somebody, something. When we are caring about somebody or something, it sounds like we are caring about others. Oh yeah, I'm so great. I'm so selfless. I'm caring about other people. When we claim that, just notice that we are stuck in the reactions. The reactions. So from outside, we are caring for other things. But from inside, it's just kind of reaction we are stuck in. In that reaction, how can we be ourselves? Think about your daily life. How many reactions are you in? When somebody says something very, very, very unkind, you respond to it. You are angry. When somebody gives you some opinions, which is not very favorable, you feel hurt because image is hurt. Notice your reaction to it. In that reactions, how can you be yourself? Right? Because you are kidnapped by the reactions. Your behavior is based on the reactions, not based on your intention.
And you are saying that our reactions are coming because we somehow benchmark against our images. The reaction comes because we have an image. How is that linked?
Because we care about image. That's why we end up being in the reactions when the image is hurt. When we care about something, we will have the reaction to something, is it? When you care about money, you have a reaction to the money. If I take €1 from your pocket, you begin to be noticed. You begin to be emotional, for example. So, for example, all that, when you care about something else, if I take it, you will immediately have a reaction to it, right? So when you don't care about it, when you don't care about money, for example, I take $10 from your pocket, you have no reaction at all because you don't care about money at all. Okay, take it. Okay, no problem. You see? To care is to react. That's it. To care about image, you react to your image. Is it? in that reactions, how can you be yourself? Because your behavior is totally controlled by reactions. So to be yourself, to be true self, means that you need to be free from the reactions. If these new reactions confine you, actually you are in a state of no caring. Never mind. Then you are self. You see, meditation or mindfulness is all about care about or not care about. Think about our life. How many assumptions do we have? We think this is important, that is important. If we think it's all important, all very important, we care about that, and we have a reaction to it. And then we fight, right? You care about it, I also care about it. Let's compete. You see, that's also the consequence of education. To teach people, oh, boys, girls, they're all important. Go for it. You see, a lot of caring is from our education, from the culture. If you care about a lot of things, how can you be calm? You can be calm, honest, because when everything you care about is okay. But how easy or how difficult to make everything you care about okay? So you see, meditation is not that you not do something. Oh, I don't need to do this. I need to have some rules. Okay, I don't have that. I need to have a. It's not about that. But you need to be aware of your mental status to notice that what you should care about, what you should not. You can still have a lot of things if you don't care about them, right? If you care about a lot of things, you can't have a lot of things because it will burden you a lot. Oh my God, I can't lose it. But if you don't care about anything, you can have the world. It sounds very counterintuitive, is it? But indeed, if you don't care about anything, you have the world. If you care about something, something will confine you. That's it. So, to be ourselves, we need to deeply feel the limitation of the image. Probably take it off when necessary. You can always put it back later, of course. But things that to be a human, we need to deeply feel the issue of the image. To understand the human's efforts in putting up the image. Think about education you have received, how to write a CV to apply for a job. The very CV stuff, is that just image, is it? Doesn't notice it. Think about the title people are working for. The professor, researcher, or doctor, whatever. Think about the image that associated with that title. You can have it, of course, but you don't need to care about that.
So, what if we care about our true self too much?
If you care about the true self, and then, I don't know, because it's a game of the word. I need to, how can I?
Be a monk?
Maybe, but I don't think it's a good idea to be a monk. But if you can, you can be.
Be a guru.
I have another question. So once you start this feeling processing, what your images, you start identifying your images and you start feeling off, your true self might be nothing at the end of the
Yes.
process. So how you can care so much about something that is
Nothing.
nothing?
Yeah.
That's a really good answer to it, is it? Because that's another big topic about the being emptiness, being empty.
And all the levels, because you're starting to think, okay, no, yeah, I understand that that situation is like, yeah, I understand, I'm playing a role, I don't care so much anymore, it's like myself from the past. But then in another situation, you find the same situation again, and you start feeling your images. It's not like we have one, we have many.
So
Playing different roles. So at the end, it's also who I am. I'm nothing.
Exactly.
So the so-called true self is also a thought.
It's also a thought, of course.
It's a weird thought.
It's also a thought.
And then you apply the judgment and you say, this is very weird.
So the true self is also coined term.
Okay.
It's a coined term. So we can't really have a discussion today. But should we go deeper a little bit or not? Do you want to? Shall we? It's your choice. Okay. Let's go a little deeper. But I'm very leery to tell you guys, because if you just, at the very beginning stage of meditation, you need to feel this part first. Because Joyce mentioned this question and you answer that, and the people also begin to notice a little bit. Let's just give a little more explanation about the self, the true self. Because we said here is a true self, but people don't ask what is the true self. If you ask a dog, hey dog, what is your true self? What will a dog answer? If you ask a pig, what is your true self? What will a pig answer? And what if I ask you, what is your true self? What will you answer? You see, when we really examine the true self, we are more confused than before. Because we think that something really exists as something called the true self. But to avoid further discussion, I'll just give you a very instant answer, like instant noodle. To be your true self is to be who you are at this moment. That's only a stopgap to not further discuss, because if we further discuss, there will be another session for sure. But for this session, up to now, that's the instant noodle answer. To be your true self is to be who you are at this moment. Meaning that who you are at this moment, who you are at this moment, is not burdened by the past, by the past knowledge of yourself, by your past experience. Nothing to do with that. To be truly who you are, that means that you just be who you are at this moment.
And this is like with these flow moments that sometimes you just have a moment and everything goes right, and you just know exactly what to do, and then things happen in sort of in a flow.
Probably yes. Yeah. If you feel it's same, that's perfect. Yeah. It can be a flow state, or people say in different ways.
Sort of when you, for example, let's say you are learning how to play a piece of music, and at some point you practice, but at some point things happen.
Naturally. Yeah.
No, this is related to be aware of the true self that you are saying, like just be aware of who you are at every moment, at each moment. Will that give you this kind of flow or mastery or is linked somehow?
Maybe it's linked, but it's up to you guys to feel it. Maybe yes, maybe no. It's really up to your situations. But if you feel yourself at this moment, that's enough, is it? Just feel yourself at this moment without this image stuff. Because today, we have this conversation without image, without many images at least. So we are able to stay here today, to face, to look at the mind separately, also collectively. So when you let go of the concept of the self, the true self, then at the moment, you are in the state of true self. But if you think, if I care about the true self, isn't it you are toying with that thought of true self? It's still a mental game, is it? And we must notice that how easy for us to slide into the mental games. To not slide into it, we need to have the deeper level of the awareness, the boundary of the mental world. Please don't expect to fully understand this from one session. And please don't take what I said seriously, okay? Don't take it. You need to observe yourself. I can give you some hint or some directions, but you need to go there yourself. If you just purely understand what I said without feeling it, and then what I said will mislead you, your life is your true teacher. When you feel the pain, when you feel the chaos, you immediately know what is order like. You see, so as conclusion of this session, if there's conclusion, the self is confusing, right? The physical self and the psychological one. Only after we end the self here in the mind, we could be self here physically. To end self means that we need to realize the concept of the self that has played the role in our life. And notice that the way people communicate is based on images. And also realize that we care about things too much. It's not about do or not do, but it's about care and not care. And realize our tendency to associate do and care, no do and no care. I think for everybody, we can consciously recognize, yeah, this is all great. But to meditate, it means that we need to act on this, put on this insight into life. That's the thing I can't help. Only you yourself can help. And that's why we say that this is a pathless land. Because everybody needs to carve out their own path to put insight into the life. This is meditation. So let's have a break, maybe 10 minutes, and then we can come back again to meditate for another 10 minutes to end today's session. Shall we? Yeah, perfect. It's a long time bombardment, right? Is it very tough?
very heavy. So
Very heavy going stuff.
like it's very. Yeah, to me it's quite profound.
No. I think people like you and like him, some people enjoy this kind of bombardment. Some people need some time to recover from it. I think the meditation always gives people this kind of a deeper level disturbance. Then people have the chance to examine the mind. It's always people also feel a little shocked, but
I've been told, so I started doing meditations, like they said it's going to be peaceful and calm for stress release and so on. But the more you meditate,
the more shocked you get.
it's like, okay. You know, so there are some mixed messages.
That's the
mindfulness.
mixed expectation from people. People think, oh yeah, I just want to use mindfulness to calm down and to feel relaxed.
Even in the corporate world, in the business world, you start doing these mindfulness courses for people to better communicate, to be more effective. But there is some game breaker there they don't tell you about.
Yes.
You know? So it's very interesting.
And people may say that it's the dark hours of the meditation because people feel shocked, disturbed by the disclosure of the truth of the mind. But I would say it's a very healthy shock.
This is a whole revolution. Come on.
Yeah, people need to have this healthy shock to revolutionize the mind.
Okay. It's okay.
It's okay. I think it's because if we hadn't gone through these shocks, we would go through other shocks, which is also very detrimental, right? Yeah, so that's why it's to change your mind. We need to go through the shocks.
Every change goes through the
Every change,
disruptions.
yeah, to shock. Every change is to a shock.
It's like somehow a disruption or something.
Yeah. So I think at least it's people are prepared for change. They need to prepare for the shocks. It's always go with the shock. That's why we just use the different word, profound. But actually, it's shocking, is it? You see how good we are at devising new languages.
Yeah. Creating layers.
Wow, what a wonderful, what a profound lecture.
insight.
Actually, what a shocking lecture. That's it.
It was really good. Makes me think a lot.
So it's healthy, shocking stuff. Okay, I'll quickly go to toilet and come back. So, shall we start the last part of meditation? I think it's after this nearly 2 hours session. our mind is very activated because everybody just give their attention to their own mind. And no matter what, we still need to stay peace and calm. That's why we need to meditate again to quieten the neurons. These neurons give us the thoughts, give us all the sensations. So we can't think to be quiet, right? We can't think to control it. We can't. The only way to do it is just no think. Then the neuron will settle down and will find peace and calm. So no matter what you have taken today from the session, probably please take this one away with you. When you're really disturbed, when you're really emotional, the first step you need to take is to calm down, to not think. You can't do nothing, but just meditate, to calm down, to let the neuron calm down, and your thoughts just let go. It sounds a little counterintuitive, but that's how the mind works. It's always beyond overthinking, always. So that's why calm down, peace and calm is always the top priority of your life. If you want to have a peaceful life, Give a break to meditate, to give you a break. That break will give you some surprise, for sure. So today, let's meditate for a surprise, shall we? Okay. Shall I turn off the lights? Yes. Okay. Oh. Okay. Now, let's take a 10-minute meditation. Start by taking a moment to find a comfortable position to sit in a posture that you feel relaxed and get alert. Let the hands rest on your knees or laps. Let the eyes close gently. Soften your forehead. Act a soft smile in the corner of your lips. Breathe naturally. As you breathe in, be aware as you breathe in. Feel the sensation of breathe in. As you breathe out, be aware of breathing out. Feel the sensation of breathing out. Fix your attention on the breath. Let go of any thought. This moment, nothing is more important than breath. Every time you hear the bell, notice where your attention is. If it wasn't on the breath, gently invite your attention back to the breath and try your best to sustain your attention on the breath. Slowly bring your awareness back to the room. Feel into your body. Wiggle your fingers and toes. When you are ready, open your eyes. Feel good now? So, finally, thank you for being here tonight to meditate together. Meditation is a very lonely journey. Everybody needs to do that in solitude. It seems that we are together, but everybody has their own mind, their own inner world. So everybody explore it in their own way, in their own time and space. And hopefully, everybody can understand the nature of mind. Then we converge eventually. It's like a mountain. We just climb the mountain, climb the peak from different route or path. But let's meet on the top. The nature of the mind, the truth of the mind. And I hope meditation can help you, at least a little bit in one way or another, to make your life more harmonious, more peaceful. Life is never easy for us. It's a journey. It's a stage. You need to perform. But how to perform? You can find it from your wisdom. You can still perform by being truly yourself. Right? So let's call it a day, and I hope everybody have a wonderful week. And hopefully I can see some of us in the future events. And forget what I said today, okay? Just forget everything. Be present, be this moment. Peace and calm is always the top priority.